All right, Tex, let's talk about the NBA championship, the finals that are happening right here, right now, in the present. Game 2 finished up last night with the Warriors taking, 122 to 103, I think. I expected that to happen, honestly. I think if I'm LeBron James, I'm just exhausted after the calamity that was game 1 and just the tomfoolery that happened at the end. I mean, what more do you want from me, hypothetically LeBron James in this situation, to do? How did you feel about it?
I mean, I think it'd be interesting to kind of go over, you and your thoughts on pre-game to game 1, what you thought the outcome would be, and because you and I had talked about potentially doing a podcast before that show. It didn't end up working out, but in terms of LeBron James, I think he's doing what we all thought he would. He is basically putting the team on his back as much as possible. And, the Warriors are just too deep. They look like they're playing with house money because they are. And it looks like they're having a little bit too much fun. But wait until the game goes back to Cleveland. Folks, down 0-2 or 2-0, however you want to look at it, to the Warriors. Do not count LeBron James out. And I know that's awkward and weird to hear coming from me, but don't do it. So, with that being said, game 1, before the game started, Seb, what did you think? What did you feel would happen for game 1, the outcome?
I thought the Warriors were going to win in a more steady fashion, but I did expect LeBron to come out and throw his best punch in that game 1, because I thought that his mindset would be, I need to get out there, and if I can lead my team to a victory here, then we might stand a chance. Because I think that was the biggest game possible in this series, is game 1 of the finals in San Francisco or Oakland, and LeBron comes in there and punches them in the mouth. Just a haymaker right off the bat. And he definitely did that. I think he
did. LeBron James won the regular time. So, when regulation, I guess you could say, the first 4 quarters, LeBron James won for the Cavaliers and beat the Warriors. Now, when J.R. Smith got involved and George Hill got involved, they definitely took the wind out of the sails. But you're right. LeBron James 100% needed to go in there. Me personally, I think you and I had spoke before the game. I thought one of two things were going to happen. I thought the Warriors were just utterly going to destroy the Cavaliers, much like they did in game 2. Or I felt that LeBron James would will his team to victory with a last-second shot, something just, up by 1 or 2 points. And it's funny because if George Hill would have made the second free throw, I think we really could be talking about a series that is a lot different, either 1-1 or even 2-0 for the Cavs. You just don't know what that type of shock would do for both sides of the court, So.
Oh yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that, man, that game was so hard to watch. It was a great game, don't get me wrong, but man, I just feel like it'll be interesting to see what the refs do at home in Cleveland. But man, I feel like LeBron and the Cavs were fighting against more than one team, honestly. And a lot of people are going to say, you're just a LeBron, dick rider or something like that. But no, guys, I truly feel that there was some horrendous officiating in that game 1, especially in the last 5 minutes. What did you think? Did you notice any of that?
For LeBron James being the GOAT, being, the king, this is a guy that I am routinely seeing. He just doesn't get a lot of calls. I mean, maybe it's just the microscope is on him a little bit more in the, in the championship. And I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the perception to me is that LeBron James does not get calls for whatever reason. If you look at somebody like, Tom Brady or, players in other, sports, when you're looked at, even Peyton Manning, they used to get calls that, might have been a little gray area, and they would be in their favor. Somebody like Cam Newton or LeBron James, they really do kind of like mirror themselves. And even though LeBron James doesn't have maybe the same poo-poo attitude as Cam Newton, but in terms of getting calls, it seems like they don't give them calls because they're, because LeBron James is a beast when it comes to being on the court. And game one was no different. I think anybody that watched the game could immediately tell that when LeBron James was called for blocking, when they overturned the call in the last 2 minutes of the game, and
which originally they were checking to see if he was in the restricted area, is what they told him. And then they were like, oh, wait a minute. Now we're going to call that a blocking foul. You guys, I firmly believe that's a charge, because in the rule book, like, it's not, you don't have to be completely still anymore. You don't. Like, LeBron made the appropriate play there, and it got called right, and then it got reversed.
I'm telling you, if this is any other player, that call doesn't happen. But I feel like they honestly have to sometimes be a little bit harder. It's like a coach that really likes a player. You're a little bit harder on him because you want him to do better. And I feel like maybe that's a little bit with the refs. I mean, how you overturn that, and I understand it. For me, I'm one of those people that's a traditionalist in the fact that, if it's right or if it's wrong, you have to call it correctly, no matter if there's 1 second left or what. But I really do feel like they got that call wrong. And you could have called it either way. But the fact that they called it on the court, they called it a charge. He was clearly out of the restricted area, and he got ran over.
He was like 2 feet. He was like 2 feet out of the restricted area. It's like, how did the refs not see that? Like, how are we going back and reviewing when it's that blatantly obvious
that
he's
right
not
there
in the restricted area?
Swung the momentum immediately into the Warriors' favor. But even then, LeBron James wills his team, gets his team confidence back, and puts them in a position to where George Hill is down by 1 with 2 shots and 4.7 seconds on the clock. This guy is an 80% free throw shooter. Okay. Not only does he make the first one, then he has the opportunity to go up 1 point. Now I completely understand. You guys are going to sit there and say, okay, 4.7 seconds. They're going to call a timeout. They're going to do an inbounds pass, and there's still an opportunity for the Warriors to win. I understand that. Nobody is disputing that. Clay could hit it from 37 feet out, but that's a lot more pressure back on the Warriors, and George Hill really just came up short, right? I mean, he missed that last free throw. But then on top of that, J.R. Smith. There's no excuse here, man. Absolutely no excuse. There was more than enough time for you to look up. I honestly think it was malpractice in the fact that he's on the court. You have got to know situational awareness. It is a tie game. And the fact that not only did George Hill miss the free throw, but Kevin Durant did a horrible job boxing out, gave JR, who is drastically shorter, I want to say by 4 or 5 inches shorter than Kevin Durant, the opportunity to grab the ball. He could have turned with 4.7 seconds and shot the ball, but he ran 3.5 seconds off the clock, effectively taking the Cavaliers' opportunity completely out from underneath them to put up a basket, draw a foul, and
he didn't even shoot it. He passed it to
Why you don't throw that to
Hill.
LeBron James when you're running to him? Why you don't turn around and immediately go up to the hoop, draw a foul, or sink it right then and there?
Because it was wide open. Like, he was 4 or 5 feet away, and it was wide open. And his excuses have changed throughout, since that game.
Oh, he knew.
What was it at first? It was,
no, yeah.
I thought we were up Yeah, you could see him mouthing it to LeBron. I thought we were up. And then he changed it and said, I thought we were down, or what? I don't know. Or that he didn't realize it, or that he was he thought they'd call a timeout. That's what he said. It's like, I thought they'd call a timeout. And then it was, I was going to try to pass it to LeBron.
Yeah, long story short,
Lord.
Your mind wasn't in the game for whatever reason. And you know, JR has a history of extracurricular activities. And, you know, I mean, I think it's, you know, there's definitely people out there making certain comments, remarks about potentially where his mind would have, you know, been during that game. But, you know, at the end of the day, he was on the court. You know, it's his job to contribute. And you were on the court with 5 seconds left to go in the game. You had no idea that your team, after that missed shot, was not even up. You were tied. And you essentially, along paired with George Hill, effectively cost the Cavaliers the game one, took the momentum from them immediately. You could tell the air in the building was gone.
Yep.
Once you made it to overtime, the Warriors knew, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is what was really interesting. I mean, there was horrendous calls against the Cavs in overtime. Even oh God, who was it? Who was was it DeMarcus Cousins that was like the refs need to run? Or who was that?
I don't know.
There was one of the players tweeted and was talking about like the last 2 minutes of the game and in overtime were some of the worst officiating he'd ever seen.
For the, you know, referees to come out the next day and basically stand behind that call, I think is just embarrassing on the NBA, to be honest. I mean, you weren't right. And everybody, typically there's going to be a lot of people on, you know, one side or the other, you know, or on both, I should say on both sides. And it seemed like the vast majority were on LeBron James' side. Somebody who doesn't need a lot of people to be on his side because, well, he's the greatest, right? So,
right.
You know, it was a little bit of a letdown because, let's be honest, going into this series, pretty much everybody, I would probably say 75% of people would say that this, you know, wouldn't even have been, you know, a series, you know, 4 or 5 games tops. And for LeBron James to have that good of a showing with such a horrible supporting cast, you know, you just hate to see him not pull out that victory. And it goes to show you, man, he doesn't have the supporting cast. So, or he hasn't the first.
No, I think this though. I think if you put LeBron James and Kevin Durant's spot on the Warriors, every game is swept for years. Like as long as that team's together, they don't lose a playoff game.
Well, no, I think
ever.
You know, if Kevin Durant, you know, is a top 5 basketball player, the difference in Durant to LeBron is huge, right? So LeBron would be clear number 1 overall, but he's been the number 1 overall for what, the past 10, 12 years, 15. I mean, hell, the guy's been in the league 15 years. So, you know, out of 15 years, has he been the best for the past 10 to 12? And that's ridiculous. So,
yeah, it's absolutely insane. And and Steve Kerr's comments today really got to me. Because like the interview that he's referring to with Steve Kerr's comments today when she was talking about you're doing fine or you did better today, if I'm not mistaken, that was in reference to an interview that LeBron had after the game in which, I don't know if you heard it, Tex, the reporter was being an idiot. Like he was trying to get LeBron to throw JR under the bus, 100% prodding him. And then Steve Kerr says that bullshit. Stay in your lane, Steve Kerr. All right. It took you getting Kevin Durant. It took you getting a top 2 player, honestly, at that point, onto a 73-win team to actually beat LeBron James.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's something that maybe, you know, would you see Phil Jackson potentially say something like that? I don't know. He might, but Greg Popovich, you know, I just think it might be a little bit of a, I guess you could say kind of a douchey move that you don't necessarily want to see from him, but you know, that's just what the Warriors are. They're just young, extremely talented, very cocky punks, and I mean they're
Yeah, I want to see. I'm very interested to see what happens when like they go to their own teams. You know what I mean? Because Klay Thompson's going to leave.
that's the idea.
I think Draymond's going to
No,
go.
I don't think so.
So that's going to leave. Draymond's going to leave.
No way he wants to leave.
And like my whole thing is, man, you're being really cocky for someone that needed Kevin Durant.
Well, here's the thing.
And
LeBron James is a bear you do not want to poke. Okay? So you better believe
True.
he has not only been in a hyperbaric chamber, he's been in a getting some cupping done. He's gotten 5 massages. He has listened to some heavy duty, rap music to get himself, centered.
I was gonna say he's got like Jay-Z's secret album that Jay-Z hasn't even released yet. He's just like, Bron, I got you.
Literally written for LeBron James. So,
what's the name of the main song on that album? I think it's "Be the Goat."
Be the Goat.
Something
Maybe
greatest.
Fuck Draymond.
Dude, okay. How I don't understand how Draymond doesn't get like a super flagrant for that thing on LeBron's eye. Did you see that thing?
Oh yeah, I mean it was horrible, and every basketball player is like a worse actor than it is, than or better, a little bit better actor than soccer players, right? So you immediately probably think, oh, LeBron's
right.
Acting like a little bitch and trying to get a flagrant for for Draymond when he stuck his hand up and obviously went at LeBron James' face. But no, I mean his eye was horrible. Looked like somebody farted in his pillow the night before, right?
Dude, it was horrendous. Like he had a big ass like red spot on his eye.
Yeah.
On his eye. Yeah. And no, they are. Like, and that whole thing with Steph Curry to Kendrick Perkins, like the you playing tonight. Calm down, Steph Curry. Kendrick Perkins will eat you alive. Like for breakfast. Yeah, and Kendrick Perkins, yes, he should have brought his feet back in, and that was douchey. But Steph Curry, guess what? You probably shouldn't throw your leg up and try to chip LeBron when he's in midair. I fucking saw it. Did you see that clip I sent you today?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know what he was doing. He's a little shady bitch as well. So
yeah, like come on, dude. Really? That's what we're gonna do? I mean, and I'm sure it was in retaliation to LeBron at the end of game 1. But man, Steph, if you're gonna be a dick about it, you got to expect people to come back at you, and you can't do it when you're so much smaller than everybody else. That's LeBron fucking James, man.
Yeah, and again, he gets no respect, man. I mean, do you see LeBron James doing that kind of shady shit? Nope. So, I don't know.
Yep. Oh, and then people talk about the Jordan Bell thing from last night and like LeBron throwing him off. Yeah, because Jordan Bell was essentially hooking him to where he could not get to the play. Did you see that? That's not allowed either. And when LeBron does that, Jordan Bell, flicks him a little bit. Of course, Jordan Bell's going to be like, oh, God. Number one, because LeBron James is like 5 times as strong as he is.
Right.
But still.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's be real here.
Well, to go back to how we led into this, LeBron James is focused. You completely need to expect a ridiculous showing at home in front of the Cleveland crowd, who is probably feeling very slighted over the first 2 games. And hopefully they have some different refs, or the refs maybe look back at film and realize that they were completely wrong. But I understand 0-2 is a horrible spot to be in, but guess what? Technically, that's where the Warriors should be. You should win your home games. And going into the first 2 games of the season, or first 2 games of the finals, the Cavs on the road were only 4-5 in the playoffs. So they weren't too good on the road. I look for a bounce back game for the Cavaliers. They're going to come in there and they're going to win game 1 at home, which puts the series at 2-1. And then if you can win the next home game, hello, kids, we're talking about a potential game 7 here because the Warriors go back home and then they win that. And then the Warriors come back to the Cleveland Cavaliers home, come back to Cleveland. Cleveland wins that. And guess what? We're at 3-3, game 7. And guess, I'm pretty sure, was it 2 years ago, there was a game 7 in Oakland. And Seb, how did that turn out?
It turned out Seb was right with the comeback. That's how it turned out. The Warriors, as you're saying, damn sure don't want to see LeBron James in a game 7. I say if it goes to game 7, the Cavs win against all odds. And
if he can do that,
I
seriously would have to put Michael Jordan at number 3 all time.
3?
3.
Who's number 2?
LeBron James.
Well, who's number 1?
LeBron James.
Okay, so like Miami Heat LeBron James and then Cavaliers LeBron James. Oh, okay.
That would be number 2. And then, I mean, fuck it, dude. I would say 2 years ago would probably be number 2. Maybe this year would probably be number 1 if he can win game 7 against this team with Kevin Durant.
Oh, God, dude. It would be... If I'm LeBron James, I'm shoving it in all of the Warriors' faces. Oh, God.
Oh, I would walk over to Draymond's mom and just slap her with my man. I'd just slap her. Because then not only
I feel like that's...
win, but then you got to slap Draymond's mom with your man thing.
That's not a good idea. It's a terrible idea, but it would be funny. I would just absolutely love it. Obviously, because I prefer the Cavs over the Warriors. And yes, I had a discussion with a buddy of mine that's a bandwagon Warriors fan. He seriously didn't understand like the difference between what Kevin Durant did and what LeBron did in terms of Kevin Durant going to the Warriors and LeBron going to the Heat, because it was completely different.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a story for another day. I don't really want to get into that. So you got a prediction for tomorrow night? How many does LeBron go for? Give me some stats.
Ooh. At home, after the first 2 games, I think what did he do? He put up like 53?
51.
He put up 51, and then last night, or what did he put up?
20 something.
Oh, I could see. He's gonna have to hit
20. He put up 29 with 13 assists and 9 rebounds.
Yeah,
he had a good night. That's okay, and he shot 50%.
Yeah, I could definitely see him going for 40. I'll say 43. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Honestly, oh God, I just want them to win so badly.
Where the role players have got to step up. They haven't done well the first 2 games, of the finals, and they were traveling, so they're home. JR is going to recenter himself. I'm sure he's going to hit a little bit of the ganja tonight to prepare himself, and that's real. Like I'm being 100%. That's not me being ignorant or rude or racist or anything. That is 100%. JR is probably smoking a blunt right now.
Probably.
But it's for his glaucoma. And, whatever.
But my thing is, who's letting Jordan Clarkson shoot the ball? Like, who is telling Jordan Clarkson shoot the ball when you get it? Because that's all he's doing. He's just going in for a really terrible drive. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he got slapped in the face by Draymond and lost all vision in his right eye or something. But that's the only explanation I could think. The only thing he's been able to do is occasionally hit a mid-range jumper, and that's it. That's all he's been able to do.
It's got to be Isaiah Thomas, right? Like, dude, you're good. Shoot the ball. LeBron he believes in you.
Head games, baby. Head games. That's all that.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of payback. Also, I love the fact that Chetty Osman got garbage time last night. Man, I really like Chetty Osman. I really do. Anyway, yeah. So moving right along, I'm very excited for tomorrow night. What also I am excited for is the future of the man, the myth, the legend, the Teddy Bridgewater. Everything that we've heard coming out of the Jets camp is that Teddy Bridgewater has looked good, has looked really good, like mighty fine. So, Tex, if you're the Jets and you've got teams calling you to possibly trade for Teddy Bridgewater, do you do it?
I think so. Here's the thing: one of the reasons why the Jets even acquired or signed Teddy Bridgewater is because of the opportunity. They saw the landscape of quarterbacks, just like everybody else in the league, but they realized that Teddy could be signed for pennies on the dollar, which he was. And even though it was a 1-year deal, there's going to be a team that potentially comes knocking during the preseason or the first part of the regular season. And if Teddy Bridgewater looks the part that we thought he was before his injury, then the Jets could turn him and get something back for signing him. And so, yeah, I think it's 100% plausible that they send a trade. And I think that if there's a quarterback needy team out there, if you look at Jacoby Brissett 2 years ago, the Patriots traded for was that a first or a second? I think it was a second round pick.
Yeah.
So, Teddy Bridgewater, I could definitely see a second to third round for him. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it depends on how desperate the team is going to be. I think we might see it be the team that comes into the preseason and their quarterback gets hurt because, it's going to happen, right?
Of course.
Yeah, because every year there's always at least one that it happens to. I don't know. Give me your top 3 preferred landing spots for Teddy Bridgewater in that situation.
Well, the first one is going to be just because it's funny. Miami Dolphins, because Ryan Tannehill has looked great. All accounts is that he's back into fully healthy and game shape, and they have Brock Osweiler, a viable backup,
Sure.
And they still have Matt Moore. So the thing would be that Tannehill is going to get injured like he does every season. And then even though they have viable backups, the Dolphins are still going to trade for a starting quarterback because they want their backups to be backups. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense at all, but it makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense for it's the Dolphins. Of course that makes sense. It's what they do.
It is what they do.
I got one for you.
Who's
Ravens.
Ravens, really?
Yeah. Joe Flacco is durable, but really? If you have the opportunity to get
Can you name the other 2 quarterbacks on the Ravens roster right now?
Besides Joe Flacco is RG3 and what's his name? Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine if Flacco goes down and they get Teddy Bridgewater? They essentially have 3 mobile quarterbacks on their team, and 2 that basically were good and then got their knees jacked up. And Bridgewater's like, yeah, sure, go take some starting reps. I'm not about to go out there.
So. Oh God, I don't know, man. I'm very. Of course, I can't wait for the beginning of the season because I'm just interested in see how teams are developing. I read an article on ESPN. They were talking about they kind of went through each of the first round picks and what they're doing. And at this point, though, most of the answers was result was too early to tell. Not enough information or right on track.
We're not going to make it for years.
Yeah, exactly. Even quarterbacks, we're not gonna know for a while. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to start at the beginning of the season. If one does, it's Josh Rosen, in my opinion, because I think Sam Bradford going down at some point is just a damn near sure thing.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
it's about as sure thing as the sun coming up tomorrow morning.
Right, exactly.
Even if it's cloudy, I hate to break it to you folks, the sun is still up, even though you can't see it.
Yeah.
Another team for Teddy Bridgewater to land. I'm not trying to screw this guy over. Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks.
You think so?
Yeah, I could definitely see. Now they don't have much in draft capital. I mean, I think they probably have their 7 picks from for this year, but they didn't have any for this
Right.
season to trade away. But I could definitely see with the pieces that are around that offensive line, and Russell Wilson, and um, the amount of shots and scrambles that he's had to deal with. I could totally see Pete Carroll bringing in somebody like Teddy Bridgewater to man the ship, depending on how long Russell Wilson is potentially out for.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to catch up to you, and that's been something you and I have talked about, is that Russell Wilson is an amazing athlete. I think he's a perennial MVP candidate just with how much he's carried that team. And eventually, when you're not giving him the help he needs, and he's getting wrecked as much as he gets wrecked, something bad happens. That's just how it goes. Like, the body can only take so much.
Yeah, the funny part is, I mean, I guess it's not funny, but if he were to get injured, hopefully it wouldn't be anything with his throwing arm, because the Yankees currently own the rights to Russell Wilson if he were in the Major League Baseball. So, bye.
Yep.
Pull a Michael Jordan, leave this bitch.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
So what we're gonna say? What other team?
I mean, I said Seattle. You said Cardinals. Let's see. Here's a good one. Chiefs.
You think Pat?
Okay, Mahomes is looking good. He's looking good, but you never know. They're all in on Holmes and or Mahomes, and I mean, they don't have much for a backup. And, it's my understanding.
Well, my thought was like older quarterback, so I was thinking like Saints, Chargers, something along that line. New York Giants, maybe.
Very true. They still have Geno Smith.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
So
that's perfect. That's exactly who you want as your backup.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No, that's so bad. Just even like the thought, the mere consideration of that just gives me the hives. Oh, God.
Among other things.
That's true. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about movies while we're wrapping this up. Tex, tell the listeners what movie that you saw recently.
The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, you did. What'd you think?
Yeah, I did. It was good. So, I'm not much of a musical man. We like a lot of the same movies, you and I, but I don't have that thespian. Yeah, I mispronounced it. I don't have that thespian background like you do. And but I will say this, for being a musical, a very heavily favored musical, it was really good. I thought that a lot of the music was different in how they switched up I guess I don't even know how you would describe it. Just, it wasn't a typical musical. They switched up a lot of stuff. So I mean, I liked it.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I loved it, man. I've seen it, I think 3 times at this point, and between you, me, and the listeners, all 15 of you, I cried within the first 2 minutes. Yeah,
really,
man, I did. And spoiler alert, guys.
You couldn't handle when they shot
what?
You couldn't handle when they shot Dumbo?
Boy, that'd have been an interesting part of the movie. Yeah. Well, game over, folks.
No.
Spoiler alert, because we're gonna talk about the movie right now. With the kids, the love thing, with the kids, and then the young man, or Hugh Jackman as a kid, going through hard times, and his dad died, and it got pretty emotional, and I cried. I was like, God, that sucks so much for that kid.
Yeah,
and he sings really well.
Yeah, it made me feel bad for my kids.
What'd you say?
I said it made me feel bad for my kids.
They have to deal with your ass all the time. Jesus.
No, yeah. Hugh Jackman's he's a great multi-talented actor, though. I mean, the dude can sing, he can dance, he can look like Wolverine. I mean,
Yeah. You can get jacked.
there's some things I would want to put on the end of that man's fist and then get him angry and just let him.
But that's it's a little much.
That was a
That's
little
a
much,
little
wasn't
much.
it? Yeah.
A little much. Yeah, I'll generally watch any Hugh Jackman movie. You know, and one of my favorite Hugh Jackman movies that it doesn't get talked about with the majority of people, but was Prisoners. Did you ever see that?
Oh, that was, dude, that's an amazing movie. That was like,
Yeah, with Jake. Yeah.
who was it?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, what about the about his kids getting kidnapped?
I thought it was a really, really interesting ending. Spoiler alert: it's a dream within a dream, and none of it's real. And
The Inception conception.
it's actually the prequel to Inception.
It's actually the prequel to The Greatest Showman.
It is, oddly enough. That is funny you said that. What about Australia? You ever remember that movie?
Okay, I love Australia,
But
which should surprise no one because like I love musicals and I love epics like Moulin Rouge in Australia. I love those movies.
okay, I thought there was a but coming in there somewhere.
No, not at all. If you're gonna say anything about a butt, it's Nicole Kidman's butt.
Or lack thereof.
How dare you, sir? She is a beautiful woman.
She's a beaut.
She's a right beauty, right? Right? Yeah. All right. Yep. Anything else we got for the listeners?
No, I just would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family about us. Go on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Bumble, our Grinder, Apple iTunes, Zencaster, Spotify, and give us a little bit of a shout out. Tell us what you think. Get engaged with us, and hit us up and let us know what other things you want us to talk about this next week. Yeah, you are.